Botswana takes pride in its flora and fauna, which has been a strong contributor to the economy of the country. However, in the last couple of years, there has been a rise in human-wildlife conflict. What could be the cause of this?
Elephants are migratory animals, but in Botswana, the scenario that we're seeing is as the population increases within the elephant range, elephants tends to disperse further down south. We have started seeing elephants coming down south into the Central Kalahari Game Reserve since the year 2015, and to date there has been a record of over 800 elephants that are within the Central Kalahari Game Reserve. And there are a number of reasons why elephants will disperse. First, it is the reason of obviously the high density within the elephant range, and then secondly, it's also to deal with search for vegetation and for water resources. And as elephants disperse, they end up locating some of the big water bodies and reliable water sources which they can then use throughout the year, particularly during the very dry years.
The 1991 Conservation and Management of Elephant Plan suggested that Botswana has reached 100,000 population of elephants. Statistics from 2012 indicated a population of 270,000. Today, Botswana has the largest elephant population in Africa, currently estimated to be around or over 130,000. Such high numbers can cause severe strain on the ecosystem.
It is very true that there is a negative impact that we observe to be due to elephant in some certain tree species and some certain within certain ecosystems. The starting point is to understand that for every given ecosystem there is a reasonable carrying capacity, what we call the ecological carrying capacity for the elephants, and this entails basically where an ecosystem allows for only a given number or an approximate number of elephants that may exist within an ecosystem without necessarily now bringing a negative impact on the vegetation. But the elephant numbers in Botswana have increased drastically throughout the elephant range, and as a result there has been very clear evidence of browsing pressure in many of the woody vegetation, as well as particular type of trees, including the baobabs and some of the palm trees.
Strides made by the tourism sector are, however, overshadowed by the human-wildlife conflict that has been developing over the last couple of years. Loss of human life, crop raiding, and destruction of water reticulation infrastructure, to name a few, have been linked to an increase to elephant population. Boipuzo Rezang, an elephant attack survivor, details events of a horrid encounter he had with an elephant.
The interface between people and wildlife seems to have intensified over the years. One reason for that has been that, as you may recall, in 2014 there was a hunting moratorium that was imposed in this country, which also affected the elephants. As a result, we have seen over the years elephants coming in closer and closer to human settlement. And in the process, that meant a lot more increased contact between people and elephants during their day-to-day routine activities.
The government strategy to addressing number of elephants in non-range areas has included driving back elephants to the elephant range and increasing water holes for animals in protected areas.
There are a number of strategies that have been put in place. First is to try and push back elephants from areas south of the elephant range. As you may recall, these are areas that really cannot accommodate elephants due to the high human density and other activities. The second aspect relates, as I have mentioned, to availability of water and vegetation for the elephants. And as a result, the Department of Wildlife and government continues to drill boreholes in some wildlife management areas and protected areas within the elephant range, which would further attract the elephant to use those artificial water holes to drink.
When you control those animals, there are specific things which you would apply, looking at what is it that you are doing at what point in time. Is it along the corridors or at the source where they actually feeding on somebody's crops? Usually we would use ground people to actually monitor and see where the elephants are. If they are moving to such areas, then we would use either scaring them away or using helicopters or just people riding on the back of a vehicle, and then we use pyrotechnics whereby using that sounds or scaring using riot guns. We have actually put some bases, forward bases in similarly a place which is eastern part of Botswana and northeast Kobomaiteng, where we have some bases there, whereby we are saying we're trying to build a human wall so that when they come, they'll hit that human wall, we send them back. But it is very difficult because they would come during the night. Usually in the morning when we find them, that's when we drive them slowly to safer areas. The area where people plow is a little bit smaller and manageable. We put electric fences. Electric fences, they have proved to be more efficient than all these others, but very expensive. The chili pepper seems to be also very effective around the Panhandle, up north of Botswana, along the delta. They plow early mature seeds. Those are some of the measures which we are using currently in Botswana.
As elephants disperse further down south, they are actually coming up into communities that are really not aware of the elephant behavior, and they need to be taught and empowered on that aspect. Overly so, we must also remember that even in our tourist attraction sites within the elephant range, there is a lot of immigration into that area that requires people to be taught as they come in of the behavior of elephants to ensure their safety while they still reside within these elephant ranges.
It is evident that there is need for people to live and understand elephant behavior for the benefit of both. Measures have to be taken to raise awareness on elephant, especially in areas that are not familiar with elephant presence, but of which now prevalent. There is need for sustainable management of elephants in Botswana.